the real reason why the rise of the far right is the left wing's fault. So the reason why the right wing or right wing and conservative politicians are going in this fascist, neo-fascist or social fascist direction is because they are under threat of facing irrelevancy because of the age of this new age of progressive politics, progressive left-leaning politics. Because the left and progressive political commentators are now teaching people about politics, and corrupt conservative politicians don't like that, right? They don't like the fact that the left-wing movement is teaching people about political corruption, disinformation, austerity, poverty, political policy, and political theory. They don't like the fact that they're educating people about politics and exposing their corruption, because it's a threat to their power. Because the more people learn that the only people actually advocating to improve society is actually the progressive left-wing movement. And the reason why they're going in this fascist direction is because they're fearing, they're in fear of this progressive movement of people being educated about their corruption, and they understand that going in this far right-wing fascist direction is the only way that they can stay in power and stay in power all around the world in all different countries, whether it's America, whether it's the UK, whether it's Argentina or Italy. So that's the reason why the left, the rise in the far right and the rise in this neo-fascism or social fascism is because of the reason why it's the left wing's fault is because the left is teaching people about corruption and teaching people about politics, and they don't like that. That is the real reason why the rise in the far right or the rise in fascistic tendencies is the left wing's fault. Because they don't like the fact that the left, the online political commentators, are actually teaching people about politics. And it also links into why they attack wokeism, because wokeism is linked to progressivism and progressivism is linked to the left. So yeah, that's the real reason why the rise of the far right and the rise of fascism is the left wing's fault. Because when progressivism starts taking over, they realise that they're going to be shut out of elections because they're the only ones advocating for policies that improve people's lives, whether it's raising wages, whether it's giving free healthcare or lowering the cost of education. So so that's the reason, and that's the reason why they do a lot of propaganda, lying about progressivism, because they don't like the fact that the left is actually trying to improve society by, for instance, improving people's understanding of psychology, improving people's understanding of politics and corruption, and stuff like that. So it links into the reason why they attack wokeism and progressivism on the left. Because as soon as they start taking over, which I think they inevitably will, they'd be shut out of elections. But the thing is the way politics should work is you should be competing by who has the best policies, not who has the best propaganda and the best disinformation. And the thing is that that's all conservatives really have to do to stay relevant into power, is do like a fiscal version of progressivism, doing fiscal progressivism. Like instead of just getting rid of education fees, instead like do 25% progressivism and lower them down by 25%. Instead of jumping up from like $7 or like £12 to £15 or whatever it is, instead what they could be doing is just do like a fraction of what the progressives want to do. They don't need to do all this fascistic, this social fascistic propaganda and disinformation. And we do need a balance of progressivism and conservatism, because when it comes to like parenting, when it comes to like this soft parenting thing, when I looked it up online and stuff like that and looked into it a little bit, having soft parenting alone isn't good enough. The soft parenting is good to stop psychological abuse and child abuse and things like that. But at the same time, you need like traditional parenting to instill like discipline and stuff like that in children. So we actually do need a combination between progressivism and conservatism. That's why we need progressive conservatism. We need to combine progressive soft parenting with traditional disciplined parenting. And what all parents basically need to do as well is they need to make sure that every parent is actually making sure that your child is doing like chores. Because if you don't teach them and instill positive habits in them, instead they will develop negative habits and more likely to develop mental illnesses like OCPD, obsessive compulsive personality disorder. So, and making sure that parents make their children do chores is something that's kind of being lost a little bit in modern day society. So we do need, when it comes to parenting and solving the mental illness crisis, we need a combination between progressivism and conservatism. We need progressive conservatism. And when it comes to psychology, we need to like have a two-pronged approach where it shouldn't just be, actually no, more than a two-pronged, three-pronged approach. We should be, the government should be doing what they can to improve mental health. The states of the county should be doing what they can to improve mental health, and parents need to get more involved with mental health. Like we need to be teaching like emotional control and resiliency training, which would also help with people's ability to have debate and conversations. If you want to have healthy debate, you need a mentally healthy society that doesn't have like OCPD, which not only includes problems with mental control, it also includes problems with social interaction and communication problems and things like that. It's similar to autism in a sense. Um, so yeah, and the reason why I figured out that we need conservatism to fix mental health as well is the progressive or the intellectual progressive side when it comes to advancing human understanding. Um, like they would be just teaching about improving like emotional control and resiliency training, and then conservatives could be focusing on creating discipline and healthy habits by having chores. And what I was about to say is the reason why I've realized that we need a balance between progressive parenting and intellectual progressive parenting and conservative parenting is because the reason why my mental health was really, really bad because I wasn't doing enough chores growing up and I wasn't taught enough at home. Um, yeah, and so like because I didn't have enough positive uh, like habits at home, I developed negative habits, and then I developed OCPD. So if I was made to do chores when I was growing up and was to have more responsibility growing up, my mental health would have been better. So it's not just improving mental health; it's also instilling discipline within society. Um, so yeah, so that's the reason why they attack. Um, that's the reason why they attack. No, that's the reason why. Oh, that's the reason why the far right or fascism is the left wing's fault. Um, I've explained why conservatives don't need to resort to these tendencies, these corruption tendencies. They can just do fiscal progressivism to stay relevant. And I've also advocated for progressive conservatism to save, mental health um, and stuff like that. So yeah, I can't remember what other stuff I was going to recap, but anyway, that's the video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it.